Hi. Thank you so much for being willing to serve as a listener for listening sessions coming up. I hope this video explanation helps a little bit and maybe saves you from having to come out on a cold winter's night. It won't take long, but there are some important points to remember when you're serving as a listener. When you arrive in the gym, there will be an easel pad by your table. The tables will be numbered. For example, each table will have a table number, and the worshipers who come into church will receive a worship folder with that number on it. And that's how we're going to get an even number of people at each table. There are instructions in your guide about what to do if there are too many at one table or not enough at another table. Also, at the bottom of your table number will be a small number. For instance, here, table number 9 has a number 4 at the bottom of it. Please begin with a topic number 4 at that table. And what we're trying to do is stagger them so that all the tables aren't beginning with number 1, and maybe we don't get to some of the other items we want to get to, or tables are just listening to each other. So we'll stagger that way. Just a reminder, when you're listening to the comments of the people, there's no need to comment, to agree or disagree. This is just pure brainstorming. In fact, the rules are pretty simple. Every idea is good, and there's no critiquing or evaluating. And that will be done later, but that's not the place here. On the top of your easel pad, write the first one you are to begin with. So I wrote worship up here because my table number said there was a small 1 in the bottom of it, which is worship. You will have these little cards on the tables, and everybody can have them in front of them as they're proceeding through this. The card lists the 6 different areas you're going to solicit their input on. And then on the bottom of the card are the 2 questions you're going to ask them. So everybody sees what you see. I've sent this to you, and you see it. I think it's on the back of that, the guide that you have. We're going to begin with worship, and the first question I would ask the people is, as we proceed into, and just read it off the card, as we proceed into the future, what are the things you think or feel are important for us to retain in this area? We'll call them the keepers. Jim, you want to start? And then we're just going to go around, and if somebody takes yours, just say pass if you don't have anything else to add. We don't want repeats, I guess. Now, if somebody says a repeat, you can write it down to be nice, but give the instruction that we don't need repeats. Once it's up here, that's good. So, Jim, would you start, and let's just go around, and you tell me one thing you think we should keep when it comes to our worship services here. And then you just write. I'm going to step out of character a little bit here now and invite you to try something else that could be helpful. Ask for a scribe, a writer. So you could begin by saying, is there anybody here in this group who loves to write and has good penmanship and is willing to stand up here and write what I tell you to? And if you get someone like that, one, it gives that person something to do. 2, it allows you to focus on the speaker. Instead of writing, you don't want to talk while your back is turned to people. So instead of writing, it lets you give more attention to the people who are in your group, if that works. Some of you would just as soon do the writing yourself. It's easier that way for you. Fine. Others would ask for a scribe or a writer, and that's fine too. So you can do it either way. Let's see. Oh, because we're doing this now via video instead of live, we don't have an opportunity separately to gather your input, and we value it. You were asked because you're a leader in some way at St. Andrew, and we really do want your input in each of these areas. What I will suggest is when you're done with your group and they leave and church is over, we'll dismiss from the gymnasium. We'll have a benediction and closing prayer in the gym. Then maybe you take the time to write your ideas, your keepers, and your hopes and dreams for each area. You could do it as you're proceeding through with everybody, but it might be easier just to fill your role as listener and then afterward record yours. We really do want to get your input too. So I go around the room. Jim, you give me yours. Bonnie, you give me yours. Tom, you give me yours. And there are a couple of passes. Go around once, maybe go around twice. If everyone's got an idea, we're going to go around again. Just tell me one thing. Don't give me 5, just one, and write it down. And when you sense that the group is sort of depleted and there are more passes than there are suggestions, then you can just close it by saying, any others that need to be written up here yet? When you're done with the keepers, flip the page. Again, write worship on the top. We need you to label these because we'll get a couple hundred of these sheets back or something like that, and we need to know what these things are. So label worship, and then hopes and dreams. That's the second question on the card. So I would, just for the sake of clarity, you've got the card in front of you. The second question is, what improvements or changes for the future might help us accomplish the Lord's work better for both our members and non-members? We'll call them hopes and dreams. Jim, we started with you last time. Tom, let's move over here, and we'll start with you this time, and we'll go around the group this way. And again, if somebody says something you wanted to say, it's already taken, you can just say pass or give a different idea. So we'll proceed that way. Tom, would you start? And then again, I just write down what they say. I hope that's clear. Just another thought on that. It's difficult to not comment on everything, especially if you feel strongly about it. Please try to resist that. If you get into explaining something, defending something, promoting something, we're not going to get through all this. We're really here to listen. The exception could be to clarify. I think of a silly example. So Bonnie says, one of her hopes and dreams is red. But red what? What do you mean? Tell me red what? Oh, red drums. I'd love to see red drums up in the front of church. Oh, okay, red drums. So you may need to clarify. So that's a good exception. The other good exception is brief. But if someone says something you know is currently available, you don't want that person to miss it. For example, someone in your group under hopes and dreams, say for nurture, our Bible study program, there are examples given on the card to explain what nurture is. Someone says, you know what I really wish we had a 55 and better growth group for people my age. And you know there is one. Then you might say, oh, by the way, did you know there is one? Would you talk to Dave Hochmuth? Do you know who he is? After church, he'll tell you more about it. Or better yet is you know their names because we've got name tags on. You go talk to Dave Hochmuth and say, Mary Smith asked about 55 and better. You might want to talk to her. So it's brief, it's simple, and that might help someone immediately. When you are done, with your group, we are going to finish together in the gym, like I said, with a benediction and prayer, maybe a song. So stay together as a group. Maybe you finish 2 minutes early. You could ask, well, let's go around again. It seemed to me like there were more ideas on X subject. Now that we've gone through all of them, do you want to offer some more keepers or hopes and dreams? So you could do that, or you could just leave the group to talk and visit, whatever you decide to do. But please don't excuse until we do that together as a group. And then take all of your sheets. You'll have a bunch of them. Roll them up. Rip them off, roll them up, put a rubber band around them. There will be rubber bands on the bleachers in the corner as you walk into the gym. On the bleachers, there will be a bag of rubber bands. Put a rubber band around it and write your name on it, on the outside of your roll, Jim Smith, so that if we have trouble deciphering something and need to get back in touch with you, at least we've got an idea who wrote this down. So I hope that helps. Would you go to the CCB group that you were invited to? Pastor Kelly invited you to that CCB group. I think it's probably called Listening Sunday, Listening Sessions. Your name is on there. Go to the Needs tab and click which of the 3 services you can help with, whether it's Thursday, 8 o'clock, or 10:30. You'll see an opportunity under Needs for any of those services, or all of them, whichever ones you can help with. If you have questions, please give me a call. Here at church, my number is 831-8540. Shoot me an email. Whatever it is, I'd be happy to make you more comfortable as you fill this very important role. The Mission Vision Task Force is eager and hungry to get this input. And thank you so much for being willing to gather it. God bless your work.